Good morning, and welcome back to another episode of the Talk to Tanner Morning Show, where we go over tips, tricks, ideas, and exercises to help make you the absolute best version of yourself. Good morning, good morning. We're gonna have a fun one going into the end of the year, and figuring out who we're trying to target going into the new year can be one of the hardest things in business, and one of the hardest things, just nailing down what it is that you actually want. That infamous question of what do you want? Who do you want to serve? Who best? Who, or probably a more important question, who benefits the most from what you do? Who do you enjoy the most? And those it's weird how those tend to meet in the middle some way, some shape, or some form, but it always takes work. And as you develop and continue to grow, as I know you are, whether you're reading books, whether you're taking courses, whether you're just having more experience with the current job that you have, we're all suited, and our needs and our values and our goals change. So to help with that, we're going to go over 5 questions. I'm going to go ahead and pop over onto my screen as soon as I can get this rocking and rolling. We're going to go ahead on my screen. We're going to share 5 ideal questions to help find your ideal client and pull up an article. Instagram, you won't be able to see the shared screen like you would at Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube, but we'll read them out loud, we'll bark them out loud, and we'll kind of get going and rock and rolling. So let me pull this up real quick, and we'll get right to work. Okay. Drinking some athletic greens this morning. My monitor shifted over. Okay, cool. Let's get this bad boy over there. Present. Shares. I'm suited up this morning. I have a speech to give this morning. I'm pretty excited about. That should be fun. A little nervous, but that's good. You want to be nervous. Okay. All right, let's get right to work. So these are 5 questions that can help you find your ideal customer. So the first question that we wanted to go over, what are your ideal customers' goals and values? What are your ideal customers' goals and values? So when it comes to buying something, or you're willing to commit time to something, or something in between there, we want to have the same goal in mind, or at least understand their goal. So your goal could be something that's just completely monetarily based. Like your goal is to just make money off of this transaction. Well, their goal isn't necessarily to just spend money. Their goal could be to save time. Their goal could be to have a better understanding of what they want. Their goal could be they want to make a certain amount of money. Their goal could be, so it's better to focus on what your customers' goals, and then also what do they value, and are these values shared? So over here, we create a 1-page life plan. We're going to do another episode on that. This one's mine. And before I'd ever work with somebody, I'd want to make sure that our values are the same. Do they value personal growth? Do they value living in the moment? Do they value love? Do they value health? Do they value adventure and trying new things, right? Because if they don't have the same values as I do, we're going to clash, and it's not going to be the best experience that they could have for themselves, depending on what you're doing, the product or service, this and that they're buying. But we want to make sure that the goals of the customer are completely understood. And if we can narrow it down as much as possible, then that's going to be very helpful. For example, within the coaching that we do, we want to really get clear on what it is that we want, to the point to where we have a 1-page plan to help reduce all the distractions. My goal as a coach is to help people take action towards a specific goal and plan and feel really good about it, be happier, become financially free with one specific idea, not having a bunch of side hustles, not having a bunch of other distracting things, or eliminating distractions such as social media throughout the day, but being very clear on what it is that they want and take consistent action towards that. And when we don't take action towards that, figure out why, because there's always a reason. There's always a reason that's getting in the way or whatever it is. So first question that we wanted to understand is, what are your ideal customers' goals and values? Next are, what are the demographics of your ideal customer? So something that you could even do on the side, if you haven't done a Facebook ad yet or something along those lines, you can do a trial ad, and then it's going to make you fill out all of these really nice questions that would force you to understand your ideal customer, such as, what age are they? My ideal customer, someone in the age from late 20s to like mid 30s, is who I have been having the most success with. So if you know anyone who's 20s to mid 30s, wants to focus on personal development, and then it would be like marital status, if I could talk this morning, marital status, and whether they're married, do they have a family, do they have a certain number of kids? Then another question would be, how much money do they make? The most important question, something that I was running into early on myself, was I was targeting like younger people, because what the product and the service that I provided, I thought would be really helpful for really young people who are still in college, but nobody could afford to buy my product. Nobody could afford to buy my service. So I was running into a big challenge with that, wanting to help people who I really cared about. They had the same goals, they had the same values as me, but can they afford what it is that you're selling? So my target income is people who make like 50 to 150K, and people who are in their late 20s, early 30s. That's my target, and that's who I've been working with. What are his or her challenges and pain points? This one's a big one. This one's great. This is why people buy things. A huge, probably the biggest influence and factor. People are just fed up. They don't want to deal with pain anymore. People pay for convenience at incredible rates, whether you see with the food that we consume, whether it's the supplementation that we take to help speed up the process and avoid any challenges or pain points, avoiding things like being unhealthy or whatever that might be. So a challenge. So what would be a challenge for someone who we're targeting? It could be they're not taking consistent action. They try something new, and they try for a month, and then they quit and they move on to something else. If that's happening with you, if you're having a really hard time staying consistent with something, then coaching is definitely something for you. If you're not clear on what it is that you want out of life, like what is your vision, what is your purpose, if you don't know these things, if you don't have the clarity behind it, then coaching would be something great for you. And when you're not in alignment with these things, if you don't know these things and you're not acting in alignment, or even worse, say you know what you want and you're not acting in alignment with it, then that can be a horrible pain point too, because you feel like, damn, I'm really fucking up because I know what it is I want. I know that I'm capable of doing this, but I consistently don't do it. So if you know someone along those lines, would love an introduction over here at Talk to Tandem. Next would be, what would be his or her objections to buying your product or service? Why would they not buy it? Why would they not buy it? Is it money? They're like, I would never pay for that. I would never invest in that. I wouldn't. And that's one of the big things is within, say, both real estate or within the coaching service, both pretty heavy rejection businesses. And you have to pinpoint what it is that we're being told on a consistent basis. Why do you not want to work with me? I've literally asked that question to people. What would make you do this? What would make you want to work? And you'd be blown away. You get random answers all over the place. Sometimes it's about money. Sometimes they just don't know enough. Because what is the saying in sales? A confused mind always says no. A confused mind always says no. So that's why it's so important at the end you're clarifying yourself. Hey, is there any questions or anything that you didn't understand? Or in a perfect world, why would you say yes to this? Or what would make you say, what kind of offer would you have to say yes to this? Say if they've already told you no, just keep asking and say, it's always good to just keep cycling out questions. Of course, you don't want to be rude. Or two, if someone doesn't want your product or service, it's usually just better to move on. The old Wolf of Wall Street guy, Jordan Belfort, for his name, but they gave this example of he trying to sell a pen. And then the first question he asks is, how long have you been in the market for selling a pen? And the guy said, oh, I'm not in the market to buy a pen. And he's like, okay, throws the pen down and moves on to the next person. So it's that middle ground of taking on objections, having good quality answers for your objections, because we're going to get them. And this could be even in life. It doesn't have to be so business oriented. It can just think of class of objections you're going to get from your children, you're going to get from your partner, you're going to get from other people that you're going to be interacting with at work naturally. And just have some type of idea from their side of the aisle, being in their shoes, having some empathy for them, and then being able to work with them a little bit better. It usually always helps. Be prepared. And where does your ideal customer get his or her information? This is a great one. Where does your ideal customer get his or her information? So that's a big reason why I'm trying to write a book on what it is that we do for the one-page life plan, the structuring of it, because it's essentially six pillars. And I'm trying to turn it into a book because a lot of my clients read books and a lot of them give out information like that. So if I can create something that I can give them for free and give them some value, and I'm just giving my own personal example so you can kind of get the wheels turning for your example. Where does your ideal customer get his or her information? One of the things I was doing, I was only posting this show to Facebook at first, but I was getting more clients from Instagram. So that doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. If the people who I'm targeting and the people who I want to work with, they go through a certain funnel, maybe the people who you're trying to work with they'll only be sold on a phone call. So you got to call them. Maybe it's got to be a touch through an email. Maybe it is posting here on YouTube. Maybe your audience is only on YouTube and they only like to take information that way. But having a good idea of where your ideal customer gets his or her information and then directing more of your energy and focus towards that, making a plan for that, can be very helpful. Well, these are 5 questions to ask. These are just good warm-up questions to figure out your ideal customer. You can work backwards from that and then go into 2023 with a much clearer focus and target. Because if anything, I've learned that the whole anybody, anything, anywhere mindset is really tough to sell because people don't feel special or they don't feel that their particular problem or challenge is going to be met. So addressing that, such as in question number 3, what are his or her challenges and pain points? Very important one. And having our marketing and our information and our value proposition be tied with that. So want to come on here. This is always ever changing and growing. But really, if you can understand their pain points and you can understand who benefits the most from what it is you do, you can usually work backwards from there and have a pretty good game plan. If you need help answering these types of questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to me directly. You can send me a direct message. You can click the link below for a free brainstorming session, and we can jump on here and we can talk about ideal clients. We can talk about what's ideal for you going into 2023 and make a plan from there. Stay accountable, be held accountable, keep kicking ass. Have an amazing, amazing Thursday, everyone. And cheers, friends. I'm rolling out of here. We got a speech today I'm really excited about. Gonna go try and knock that out of the park. And then we're going to kind of rock and roll for the day from there. Got a few things we got to do at the rental properties. So should be fun. So I'm out of here. You guys have an amazing Thursday. Cheers, friends. I'm out. Until next time, have a good one. Stay awesome. Keep kicking ass. Good morning to you all.